everyone, Scott Perkins from Jigsaw Concepts, and welcome to part 2 of our video presentation for Jigsaw Managed Services online reporting tool. Okay, so this is the login screen for the user, so we'll just log in to the system and I'll run through the welcome page and just some navigation. Okay, so as we discussed in the introduction, a powerful component of the system is the ability to leave comments for each of the consoles. So on the welcome page you're presented with comments on each of the consoles, most recent comments. So in this case we've got 3 most recent posts for the financial results, a couple for the business metrics, and then we can look at some of the older posts here and we can see information on business metrics and labor productivity. On the right hand side we've got some navigation, so we can see that for this particular company we've got a business metrics, labor productivity and financial results. We can access the consoles through here or alternatively from the top strip menu. So let's go to the business metrics console and we'll just run through some of the elements within that system. Okay, so this is the business metrics page, and on here we have a number of key performance indicators for a manager to be able to see where the current business is up to. So this business is a mixed business. It has both electrical and fire, and within those companies they have 2 primary business activities being service and projects. So it's fairly typical for a building services kind of operation. So here we've got the backlog presented in a table form. So it shows the electrical business has got a backlog of 1.6 million, and that's split between service and projects, and equally we've got a fire business of 2.8 and it's split evenly between service and projects. So we've got a grand total of close enough to 4.5 million in the backlog. Okay, so I can drill down and start to segregate that. So I may just want to have a look at what sort of project activity we've got. So I've got 2.2 million in project activity, or what do I have in just service? So in service I've got 2.2, so it's a roughly 50-50 split. If I want to reset, I can always just click on reset and go back to how the table or the element is presented when I first logged in. On the right here I have a different presentation of the backlog. In this case here what I'm doing is looking at the backlog, but I've also injected some CRM components. So I'm also looking at $1.2 million worth of work which the sales guys are presenting as most likely to close. So I'm now looking at what sort of forward orders I have, not only for backlog but new works coming in. This can also be split through the business activities by just looking at, say, electrical, and also I can look at just fire. Again, I can reset and go back to everything, but I can also turn around and turn the dimensions off through here, and you'll see the graph responds to me mousing around through the legend. So I can turn off projects and just look at service and sales, or what's probably more relevant is most of the work is coming through projects and sales. So that just gives me the split. So I'm looking at in this case here 66.3% of my projected backlog being in projects and 33.7% being in sales. And clicking on the legend here reports everything back as was before. As I said before, we've also injected some CRM components. So this is a snapshot of the CRM capability. So what we're presented here with is all the salesmen for a status of 1. So this is showing which each of the salesmen have won for the period, so for a financial year. What I can do is from here I can turn around and start to add some other statuses. So I may want to have a look at, okay, what are we looking at in terms of negotiation and commitment. So this is giving me a snapshot of the sales team and what they're actively pursuing. Now I may want to declutter this and only look at a particular individual. So here I can just look at John Smith. And across here again I can turn off the negotiation. So here I'm only looking at purely what has he got as commitments and what has he got as won. And you can see by mousing over here you get information in terms of the status again, but also value. And then at the bottom of these posts, at the bottom of this console, you can see the comments being left by the manager. So in this case, John Smith is doing a great job in sales. Yes, solid performance indeed. We should ask John what he's doing and share it with others. So this is just some examples of some of the posts and some of the information that you can get. So this business metrics page is looking at not only information from the financials, it's also looking at the sales and then injecting it all to give you an overview. Okay, so let's go back to the home page now and we'll have a look at the labor productivity. Right, so this is the labor productivity page. So this page has been designed to identify who we currently have on the payroll, how many hours they're working, which equates to what we're paying them, versus how many hours they're spending on the job, so how much time can we recover. So on the left hand side here we see another table. It's showing the project staff versus the service staff, showing the hours worked and hours on the job. Once again, we've got the ability to drill down, so I can just have a look purely at projects, and I can see through here how many hours we've actually paid them. So this gentleman here is probably being paid overtime over some of the others, and then hours on the job. I can look at service, do the split, and then of course I can reset to go back. On the right hand side here, what we have is a graphical presentation. In this case it's a stacked graph, so we can have a look at the hours worked versus the hours on the job, and we can see that in projects it's fairly even, which is what we'd expect, but in service we've got this anomaly. Down here further we can start to drill down and see that anomaly presented more closely. So again, what we've got through here is we have all of the individuals, but this time we've got them graphed, and again I can select, in this case let's go to service, and we can see the anomalies here for each of the individuals. So we can see we have two people, both of them have got issues with their productivity. Across on the right here we've got similar information presented, but this time what we're doing is we're just looking at their productivity against certain thresholds. So we can see here we've got a productivity of 45% being poor, 60% being okay, and 75% being good. So the target would be to be between this good, between okay and good. So if I look at just projects, I can see that we've got everybody is above the poor, and for the exception of one person, everybody's in the good range or better. If I turn around and just look at service now, we can see here the problem. So we have two individuals below the poor mark. So obviously that would require some clarification. It could be an data entry point, or they may have been doing some training or whatever, but it requires further investigation. And through here once again we can put in some comments, ask for some clarification, and then get the information back. So that's the labour productivity. In this instance here, what we're doing is we're getting information from not only the payroll system, but we're then getting information from job costing or the ERP, and collating all that information so that we can get a good snapshot. So labour productivity is always important, especially with payroll being such a high cost of business. So it's good to be able to dissect and have a look at how that's running at any given time. Okay, so back to the home screen, and we'll look at the last console in the presentation, which is financial results. Okay, so this is the final console, being the financial results. Now this information typically it will come exclusively from an accounting package. It could also inject information from the ERP, but generally speaking comes from the financial package. So what we've got through here is again a graphical presentation. In this instance what we're looking at is income, and we've got a number of splits of income. So these could be account types or income types. So for here we're looking at project and service, but we've got this added dimension of maintenance and consulting, so they could be subcategories. So we're looking at income here, and we can see how our income is split. So for instance, we've got 29.2 through consulting, and we've got 32.4 through projects. So about 2/3 in those areas, and then the other third being represented across service and maintenance. Now I can look at gross profit in a similar instance. So here we've got a higher percentage, so we've got 33% of our gross profit coming from consulting and 32% coming from projects. So again, around about 2/3 from those two activities and 1/3 from the service and maintenance. On the right hand side here I have a table showing the breakdown of the P&L, and again I can split that between the various business activities. And then down the bottom I have again a representation of the P&L, but I've got it month on month. So initially it would come to you as a total. So I'm seeing across the consolidated business, and I'm looking here at July, August and September, so first quarter of the financial year. I can isolate various quarters, so I can just have a look at say July, and I'm now looking at a consolidated position of July, and then I can drill down further and look at say just the projects, or indeed just the service activity. So here I'm looking at income, cost of sales and gross profit, and mousing over will give me all the information that I need in terms of the financials. I can reset that through here and then restore it all back so I can have a look at each month. So what you might do, as we said before, where you're presented with a consolidated position and then drill down, you may just present the information year to date, but have the option to be able to dissect that year to date. So again, you've got the option to leave comments through here for managers. Not everybody would have access to this console typically, but certainly from a line manager or a department manager's perspective, this is a fairly crucial part, and this would be where you would write your management report or run your information off. So the other consoles would certainly give you information, but this would be the overall financial position for the business month on month. Okay, so just returning back to the home screen. So just to recap, so this is the home screen, presents all of the commentary that's been made on each of the consoles, and the home screen presents you with the opportunity to go to the consoles individually through navigation, either through the side menu or at the top strip menu. Well, that concludes our presentation on Jigsaw Managed Services online reporting tool. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you found it informative. We'd encourage you to go to our website at www.jigsawmanagedservices.com, where you can click on the report demos here and run through each of those consoles and the elements as they were presented in the video and have a play for yourself. If you want more information about the product and indeed what other services we can provide, please don't hesitate to contact us on the contact support page, and we'd be happy to answer your calls. Okay, thanks a lot for your time. Bye for now.